Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Just Salt. This was a long time ago, when the beaches in Mexico were still decent and not ruined by hotels. There were two beaches my family frequented, as my grandmother lived in town. We usually went to the further beach, as it turned into basically a giant clam farm when the tide went down. My 50 billion cousins and I would get buckets full, then the older ones would cook them the next day. This was my favorite part, as I was never fond of the ocean. Thanks Jaws. One year, in my mother's infinite wisdom, we went to the closer beach because they just didn't feel like driving to the good beach. I, being a typical 14-year-old, started whining to my mom the minute I saw the first of what would be many broken bottles. I whined about the seaweed on the shore that was stinky and right next to our setup. I tried to play in the sand, but people kept throwing things, in one case an entire dog, into my castles. Ultimately, I decided to get into the water where my mom had gone, which is where I made my mistake. After only a few minutes, I began to feel a kind of pinprick on my arm. I saw a bunch of small fish around me, so I dismissed it as the fish swimming by me. I went over close to where my mom was and felt it again, but now it kinda hurt for a bit. I swished my arms around and it stopped, but I didn't see anything besides the tiny fish. I told my mom, "I think something is biting me." My mom says, "Oh, it's just the salt. You are fine. That's why I keep telling you to put lotion on. Your skin is so dry." "I've never been hurt by salt before, Mom." "Then just ignore it. There's nothing biting you. I know you don't like this beach, but don't ruin it. We are just trying to enjoy the day, and no one else is complaining about bites." I go into petty mode and just stare at her as I remained perfectly still. It didn't take long until I felt those bites again, but now I was gonna ignore it. So I just stood there for several minutes, just staring at her, until the pain turned into burning, and the burning turned into agony. Did I panic? Nope. I ever so slowly got closer to my mom, until she got startled at how close I was. Then, like frozen molasses in January, I lifted my arm and said, "Hey, I caught some salt." There, on my arm, was a small bunch of what looked like brown and white striped string, and it was burning the shape of its body onto my swelling arm, right in front of our eyes. A bunch of baby sea nettles were stinging me, and were pretty much invisible until they were out of the water. My mom swatted my arm and shouted for everyone to get out of the water. It wasn't a stampede of cousins or anything, but everyone looked at me to see what happened. We spent the next hour wasting our popsicles on my arm, as the burning went on for quite some time. Of course, I had to ask my mom if there was salt in the popsicles. It didn't stop them from going to that beach. But the next time they went, it was the season for the moon jellyfish, which wash up on the shore and completely cover the beach, making it really dangerous for children and dogs alike. The time after that, there were so many people and so much air that my cousin almost stepped on a small pile of broken beer bottles and other things. I never went back. The next story is called Garbage Can. This was a long time ago, back in high school. One morning I was walking to school, drinking from a juice box. As I finished, I realized I was walking through a nice residential neighborhood and there were no public trash bins around. However, it must have been this neighborhood's pickup day, as everyone had wheeled their bins out to the sidewalk in front of their house. I just put my juice box in the nearest bin, I thought. But it was not to be. As soon as I opened the nearest lid, I heard a pounding on the main window of the immaculately maintained house in front of me. I looked up, and a very upset middle-aged man was shouting through the window at me, gesticulating wildly. His flailing and bead-red face read spectacularly clear through the window. It was his garbage bin, not mine, and I had no right to use it. I looked at him, trying not to chuckle. "You don't want me to use your beautiful bin?" "Pardon me." I pantomimed, and staring at him with a huge grin breaking through a mock penitential visage, I pitched the juice box onto his precious flawless lawn. As his eyes widened to the size of saucers, I hightailed it out of the neighborhood, laughing all the way. The third story is called Cut My Hours. So, every summer during college, I went home to work at the same summer camp. I was the senior counselor by year 3. but a new co-owner had joined and was eager to get her family a job at my same pay rate and my same hours. So when the weekly schedule dropped, I contacted my boss like, "Hey, I was expecting 50 plus hours a week. What's going on?" She clearly invited the co-owner to the text conversation to text me as if it was her. I immediately picked up on it and was annoyed. Fast forward to a couple of weeks in. I'm clearly the senior counselor that pretty much needs to be there if there isn't a co-owner in the room, even with this new girl making the same pay as me. It was a crazy day, but my new schedule indicated my shift was over, so I went to pack up. My boss was like, "Hey, can you stay?" And I was just like, "No, I'm following my schedule." Set her right off, but I stood my ground. She ended up apologizing and showing her appreciation for me, so I stayed. But we definitely had a bit of a staring match in front of the kiddos. The last story is called The Thermostat. I share a 5-bedroom home with 4 other small families. My neighbors are from a Spanish-speaking country and don't know English very well. The language barrier is large between us. The way this house was built in 2015 does not allow for very good ventilation between rooms or floors. Additionally, the HVAC system does not have thermometers in each room. Instead, it's combined with a thermostat, one of which is located in the hall I share with my neighbors. It reads 68 degrees Fahrenheit on average, but that's with both bedroom doors closed. Thus, the temperature in either one of our rooms can vary drastically. The landlord has expressed his wish to keep the thermostat above 60 degrees as long as it's colder than that outside. Easy enough. Open the window when it's hot and close it when it's cold. My desk is next to both our windows, so that's primarily been my responsibility. Both parties tend to avoid conflict, so we haven't discussed this face to face or even through text. Every so often, my roommate and I will notice that it's uncomfortably hot or cold. Every time we've checked the thermostat, it's been set to either 80 degrees or 50 degrees. Naturally, we set it back to heat to around 64 degrees and cool it to around 70. Apparently, this does not suffice for our neighbors. They have been, over the past month, continuously setting the thermostat back to 50 degrees, even when it's been below 40 outside. But here's the kicker. The AC wasn't even running until yesterday. The air coming out of the vents has been cold because most of our HVAC system is in an unisolated garage. This knowledge was gifted to us by the landlord, who also doesn't speak Spanish, and he assumed we would pass the information to our neighbors. Yet again, as predicted, they set the thermostat to 50 degrees. But this time we let it run like that all night, making sure to grab all the blankets from the shared laundry room. Remember, when the temperature in a room changes while the door is closed, the thermometer can't tell until the door opens. They sleep with their door locked. So, all night, the HVAC system was blowing frigid air into their room. We woke up the next morning with the thermostat set to 66 and 70 degrees. Sweet, sweet victory. I know this is petty, but man oh man, is it nice to have a comfortable temperature to sleep in. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories in today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.